Today in Flex in the City, we talk to Christophe Girondel, Global Head of Distribution, Nordea. He stands for trust and authenticity. All that happening right now in Flex and the City.
Hello, everybody. This is Rachel Treese, who has COVID today, but she's still recording Flex and the City. And today, I'm very pleased. I'm not actually physically with you, but I am talking to the wonderful Christophe Girondel, who is the Global Head of Distribution for Nordea Asset Management. Pleasure to have you with us, Christophe.
Thanks for having me, Rachel. Nice of you. I hope you get better soon.
Thank you. I'm feeling absolutely fine, just a little croaky, so do bear with me here. So love to hear, Christophe. I know that you've worked at Nordea for many, many years now, and you're the head of global distribution, but love to hear a bit about your journey. I know you're French, so tell us a little bit about how you arrived in the Grand Duchy and came to be working at Nordea.
So I'm born in the east side of France. So I've never born very far away from the Grand Duchy. And I had always my grandparents actually going for the Grand Duchy because we had some relatives over there. So I've been coming to the Grand Duchy also as a child to visit these relatives. You know, I went to study in Paris, so I was far away from the Grand Duchy, and then went to work for Crédit Lyonnais, which was at that time existing. In Paris and then in the Nordic region, and therefore I was far away from the Grand Duchy. And at some point, love brought me to the Grand Duchy because my girlfriend of that time actually got a job in Grand Duchy. So that's where I came to the Grand Duchy initially. Funny enough, I was working in corporate banking, so when I arrived in the Grand Duchy, investment fund or asset management was quite far away from me. I was a bit I was trying to find a job in corporate banking, and that didn't really exist in the Grand Duchy at that time. And therefore, I ended up working for Deloitte for a couple of years in different functions, especially in the advisory side of Deloitte, where I started to learn, investment fund, what it was, advising some clients, having great colleagues. And then one day, one of my clients actually called me, which was Nordea at that time, and that's where I started to end up at Nordea. So that's where my life at Nordea, like almost 20 years ago, actually started.
Wow. And you're in distribution now. Tell us a little bit about your work in distribution. What kind of clients are you serving, Christophe?
So I actually started more into the management. It was a Manco, was 2003, the beginning of the Mancos, UCITS 3 Mancos. So that's where I started. And I was more in the product side, developing product prospectuses. And then over time, Nordea started to build a little platform here in Luxembourg, selling to third parties some of the mutual funds. And I was part of that team. And I was lucky to have the opportunity in 2006 to head the team, because the head departed, and then they asked me if I would head that team, and that's what my journey started in distribution. And we were at that time quite small. We were, I think, 50 people, selling mainly in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and a bit in France, and we had the CCAV, and then over time, it grows. It started to grow. We started to be more successful. We started to open an office in Italy, and then we opened an office in Spain. So we grown. And I also got the chance to grow in the group. So heading the distribution became, not only the third-party distribution, but also the institutional distribution. So I ended up now having around 200 people reporting to me. I report to the CEO of the asset management, and I have people around the world. So I have even people in Santiago, in Chile, and some in Singapore on the distribution side. And we have 3 hubs, support hubs, one in Copenhagen, one in Luxembourg, which is the bigger one, and one in Lisbon that we opened 2-3 years ago. So we have basically, so I have quite of a big remit of activities, which is fun, because it's distribution in the broader sense of distribution. So marketing, product support, so all these kind of function of reporting. So it's not only sales actually activities. That's why there is so many people in the team.
So leadership is a core part of what you do, and obviously you are French, and Emmanuel Macron got in now last night. Now, we don't want to get political, but I am curious about leadership and have there been some inspiring leaders, either global leaders or financial services leaders, that have inspired you thus far?
Yeah, actually, I don't have a figurehead. I have been inspired by many people I've met over the years, and some have been my bosses. So a couple of them have been quite inspiring to me. Some have been the head of HR I had when I joined Nordea, that I found was an inspiring person, and about yourself, where are your boundaries, how you can grow. But it's also my team every day. So any person can inspire me. So it's not like it's because of who they are, what they say, what they live, that gets an inspiration from me. So I'm quite curious as a person. So I'm trying to learn from whoever I meet, and that's what is enriching me, actually. And that's clients as well. Obviously, clients I meet, they also a very good source of inspiration. So it's not like I would tell you one person. It's actually many different influences that have made me who I am, actually.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you mentioned curiosity, because curiosity is one of the most powerful coaching skills. So love that. In terms of your own leadership, Scott, I know a few people who've worked for you over the years, and they love who you are and what you stand for. So what would you say are some of the reasons that they do love you and who you are and what you stand for, Christophe? What are your traits? What would you say that is?
I think I'm authentic as a person. So I think people know who I am, where I am. I think that's one of the things that is probably something that it's why people, I think, like to be with me. I think I'm open to ideas, to different way of thinking, and I'm not afraid to say that I'm wrong. To rethink what I have done. I think that's very important, and that also show to people that they can make a difference. Because if they can tell you something and suddenly you take it in and it change your mind, it change what you think, is actually very, I think it's very appreciated by people, because it means that they count. And I think everyone in my organization count. Whatever they do, they can make a difference. So I think that might be the reason. This openness. I think I'm also very much, I think people would say that I'm trustworthy. So they know that they can rely on me.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you really build a culture of agency within your distribution team. So you've been part of a Nordic culture, working for a Nordic organization. I know that sustainability is part of the DNA. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, the DNA, and how that works for your investors?
Yeah, I think the Nordics, they have had this, I don't know if it's this relation to nature, or I don't know how you want to call that has been there for a very, very long time. It's something that is very much in who they are, in their DNA. And frankly, 15 years ago, already in Sweden, people were asking us for products that had some sort of sustainability feature. And that was 15 years ago. And they would go to the bank, Nordea Bank, and would ask for that product. And if you wouldn't have that product, they would decide to bank somewhere else. So it was not like, you see a lot of hype right now. So it was, for us, it's not new. It's something that happened 15 years ago, and obviously that has created a very strong sense of urgency when it comes to sustainability. And we have developed product over the years, and so that's really strong in what we do and what we stand for. Probably, some of the requirements of the Nordic investor are probably higher than what I see in the rest of Europe sometime in terms of what they expect from an asset manager.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're much more demanding. And so tell us about young people as well. Do you think the industry is doing enough to connect with new generations as investors? And is it slightly different in Nordic regions, do you think, from the rest of planet?
No, I think young investors or young people are actually less interested than they used to be by financial industry. So they find other area of interest. So it's a job for us to try to get them interested. What I can say, because I teach in the university in Paris, where they get really, really interested is when I discuss, responsible investment, sustainability. It's because this idea that you can be an actor of change through your investment is something that resonates a lot with them. They are very engaged in this. So maybe we have a chance as a financial industry to actually capture them back to the industry to work on some of these sustainable topics that actually are so important. The way we talk to companies, the way we get companies to integrate some of these topics into the way they build the factories or different things. I think this is really, really important. And I think that really gets the young people very much engaged.
So do we need a rebranding of the financial services industry in some ways to help attract these people? Because it sounds to me that there's part of what we do that's really fascinating and exciting for these people, but not everything.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Obviously we still have a fiduciary duty, so we are here to deliver a return to someone. So it's not like. But the two can go hand in hand, and I think that's something that we have to communicate better. That financial industry is also about sustainability and the way you can influence company, because if you vote at General Assembly, if you engage the company, you can influence the company. So it's a way to change the world in a way, in a small steps, obviously. And I think I'm not sure it's this rebranding, but I think if we talk more about this, we're going to get the young people more interested in the financial industry. I'm sure about that.
Absolutely. So going back to Nordic culture, I get a sense that Nordic cultures are very good at getting people engaged. Do you want to just tell me a little bit about, what your own view on that, having worked in this culture now for many years?
Yeah, I think that's, when I joined first, I have been living in the Nordics before I joined Nordea, I told you. So I had been experiencing this and as a French guy, that was a bit fascinating because you would get the boss of the team, and before he would take a decision, he would actually consult the team. So he would basically get the people in a room, would expose basically what was the issue, his view, what would be the path potentially we would go, and ask each of the person in the team, what's your view or what do you think? And I think that was French guys, that was really, really strange. But over time, actually, I learned it's very, very powerful. It's extremely powerful because what you get through that process is you get people to get engaged in the project or wherever you want to go. You get them to be in your boat instead of taking them. They are really part of your process and the boat. And the time it takes you to do that is the time you gain afterwards, because they are very committed and they own basically the process. And I think that's something that is extremely Nordic. That has been a very, very powerful weapon for me when I had to lead teams and get things moving. It's because you get to learn how to engage people.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like it's really about harnessing the great collective, the collective wisdom in organizations and in teams.
Very much, very much. Yeah. Obviously, I think there is pitfalls in everything. And one of the pitfalls, for example, is they can also spend a lot of time to meet and meet again, because what they like is to get to a consensus. Okay, so you could also so the good thing of the other culture that you can bring is basically at some point you need to break and say, look guys, I have heard everyone, but I think now we need to move on, and therefore this is going to be the way we're going to go. But still, they have all been heard. And this is what is really important, is the fact that they have been heard. They will accept that maybe we don't go their way and we go another way, but they have been heard and you have been able to respond to their argumentation why you have decided to go another path rather than this path. And this is very, very powerful.
It's extremely powerful. And it's really interesting what you're saying, because whenever we're doing change management projects with people, it's about people being heard. We're human beings at the end of the day. So as a human being at the end of the day, what do you love doing outside of your job? What's your passion, Christophe?
I love traveling. So this is really, and I love traveling far away in remote places. So one of the destinations I have been going quite often is Latin America, in different places, in Patagonia, in the middle of nowhere, in the mountain, in the Cordillera de Andes. And I think that has been so rich for me to do that, because, we live in the developed world in a, bit of frantic way, stress, and suddenly you go there in remote places where people, they have literally nothing, but they show so much solidarity with each other that, it's questioning sometimes our modern world, where we tend to, if you live in a big city, Luxembourg is a bit different, but if you live in a big city like Paris, very often you don't know your neighbor, you just, over there, it's this solidarity has always struck me. And I think this is really bring you down, it bring you down from, what is the true value, what is really important in your life. So I love to do these trips when I can, to be a bit remote for sometimes. And the good thing on top is that the mobile phone doesn't go there, so you're also free from your work and from all the potential issues actually you can have.
You get your digital detox.
Exactly.
So I love that word, solidarity, and I love the way it's bringing humility. So, if you were able to bring solidarity, or if you were able to wave a Latin American magic wand over the financial services industry and really have a great impact, what is it that you would do, Christophe? What's the big game changer, do you think, for financial services?
I think the big game changer for me would be to foster much more the financial education. I find incredible that, we learn a lot of things at school. You learn to math, but you never learn, what is the financial, what is financial services. For example, the first time people go and take a mortgage, they often never have heard about what is interest rate, what is a mortgage, what is a guarantees, and I think this is I think we do a very bad job as society if you don't get people to understand the basic of finance, so they can basically be more free. Because at the end of the day, it sets them free. If they understand the basic of finance, they get free in their choice. And I think that should be a very, very much a top objective of any society, to free your people so they can make their right choice.
Christophe Girondel, thank you so much for bringing today your Hygge, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Hygge leadership to Flex in the City. Je vous remercie beaucoup. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. Thank you.
You just listened to Flex in the City. Catch us on our next episode.